Welcome to another episode of Raivision Dialogues. And once again, I've got a very knowledgeable person from Holland. We are fast becoming online friend as well. So welcome to Raivision Dialogues, Singh Saab.
धन्यवाद जी, नमस्ते जी, और जय सिया राम और सलाम वालेकुम कहा जाता भी, सत श्री अकाल। कितना भाषा में हाउ आर यू सर, थैंक यू।
अच्छा, आज तो जय श्री राम बनता ही है, क्योंकि वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक ऑन वेरी वेरी special issue today, issue which is close to heart of majority of the Girmitias and is close to the hearts of 1.3 billion Indians. And the subject is Lord Ram, Ramayana, Ram Lila Kutis, Mandirs, and Ram Lila, especially in the context of Suriname and Holland. So before we touch that topic, Singhji, people who are not familiar with you, brief description of yourself.
Well, thank you, sir, for this. You are doing very good job. Let me tell me that first. What can I tell about me? I am twice migrated. Once my ancestors from Bharat, especially Bihar, they were Girmitias, and not to British colony, but to Dutch colony. That is especially in Suriname, because they are talking their Dutch. So it's my language is officially Dutch. I'm not talking English just for talk Zoom. Koisa means Portuguese. Always I am talking Portuguese because I have residence also in Portugal. So I am living for more than 52 years in the Holland. Coming here when I was a teacher of 21-year-olds, and I got married, and my wife and me, we wanted to study more, so we came to Holland. That was the best place to study, because that is a Dutch university, and we were familiar with the culture and everything. So we came here and we stayed for some time. After that, we went again to Suriname, working there like a headmaster of school and doing something more on the social affair. But when we got children, we went back in 90. At first, we came at 1967, and we emigrated back to Suriname in 1970. We stayed there for 3 years, and after 3 years, I wanted to study more. I wanted to study educational pedagogy, learning how to teach children, but also to teach the adults one. So my special study is the schooling andragogy and pedagogy, the University of Leiden. And actually, I am a social changer, especially with an optic of psychology. How can you change the mind of the man, the children, but also from that change the society? So I'm retired now. I'm 77 and writing books and columns, etc., and talking with you. And my interest to the Girmitia worldwide is very, very, very growing with you, because I'm listening, seeing what you are doing. And especially, I want to contribute from my side something on these cases, why Hindustanis are in the world, what are they doing, and what can they do to conserve their bhasha, their language, their culture, their way of life to the next generations. And that's what I'm doing too here in Holland. I was the chairman of the National Society of Hindustanis here in the Dutch, and that's why we are going to talk why is the reason that the Hindustanis in the Dutch they are relatively very successful here, and so I am doing a lot of things.
I know. I
Mostly,
think we are going to have a number of conversation on the different issues, and I'm so glad as we this third discussion conversation, and today I'm learning more. I've learned more about you, and as we carry on, our audience will also get to know more about you. Today. We're going to discuss something which is very close to my heart, is very close to your heart, and as I said, and this discussion was planned because I was talking to my friend Rahul Krishna Raju over here about 5-6 days ago, and he asked me a question. He said, "Doc, do you know which country apart from Fiji where Ramayana, Mandalis, and Ramila, and anything related to Lord Ram and Ramayana is done more than Fiji?" And I did not know. And straight away, I thought about Suriname, because history of Suriname and Fiji is very, very similar. But I was not sure, because Fiji, as you know, was a British colony. Suriname is a Dutch colony, so there was a difference. But he told me that in Indonesia, Ramayana and Ramlila, etc., is very, very common. But today we are not going to talk about Indonesia. I might talk to another friend of mine who has told me a lot about Indonesia. Today, first of all, tell us briefly about the Hindustanis of Suriname.
Let me begin with Shri Ram. When in 1873, the Girmitias came at the first time to Suriname from Kolkata. They have to recruit them, especially in the region of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, mostly. My ancestors, they are coming from Gorakhpur, especially talking Bhojpuri, and वही खातिर हम लोग हिंदुस्तानी बतियाइला जैसे बोले के चाहिए. and I think ऐसे ही फिजी में बात करते हैं, and that's why I think the similarity is great between the society of Hindustani society in Fiji and Suriname. One difference is very special, and that is the difference in the language. Fiji is an English speaking, and Suriname was and is still the speaking. That are the two means thing to point on this, and that makes that the Hindustani culture and bhasha language in Suriname is preserved, is conserved, the best one, looking to the other colonies where was the English was the language. I will explain this why. But when they were recruiting the Girmitias in the area of north part of India, they were legal recruiters and illegal recruiters. The illegal, were the Arkatiyas. These Arkatiyas, some of them, not the lot, some of them tried to mislead the poor people there. There was काम धाम तो कुछ रहते नहीं. There was nothing to do. So they tell them, listen, do you want to go to Sri Rama, Sri Ramnagar? Because they couldn't speak Suriname in the right way. इसलिए उन्होंने कहा कि तुमको श्री राम चलना है काम के लिए, वहां सोने के थाली में खाएगा वगैरह वगैरह. Not a lot of them, there's some. That's why they call, अब मैं जा रहा हूँ श्री राम नगर. You know, Suriname मतलब श्री राम नगर. So we are coming to your subject, Sri Ram Ji. Let me tell you this. At the last Girmitia shipping was in May 1916. And the first one is June 1873. Between this period, the total migrants were 34,000 approximately. One third part of them repatriate.
Okay.
The largest one, they stayed there. So the number of the state one was approximately in total 25,000. Well, after 100 years, ये 12 times more reproduce हुआ. There was, मेरा माँ बाप को 12 बच्चे थे. ऐसे सभी जो देहात में काम करते थे, they had to get a lot of children. That's why I know this 15, the total number of the Girmitias in Suriname was 300,000.
Okay.
Divided in two parts. One part, approximately 150 Hindustanis are still living in Suriname. But 175 are living abroad. And most of them are living, approximately 150,000 also are living in the Holland. The other one are living abroad in the United States or until something like that. Within this group, the Hindus are the major group. Maybe 17% of the total Hindustanis coming from north part of India. The descendants of descendants of them is 16% are Muslims, the rest is Hindu. Beyond these Hindus is the greatest part Sanatanis. You know, maybe the Sanatanis are 2/3 and the Arya Samajs and the others are 1/3, because we have also Kabarpanthi, Kabirpanthi, many kinds of Sai Baba group, something like that. Christian, they are also two. But the largest group are Sanatan Dharma. Well, these Sanatan Dharmis in Sri Ramnagar, when they came, first thing what they wanted to do is, मेरे को मंदिर होना चाहिए, हमारा मंदिर कहाँ बने? You know, इसलिए पहला काम, और वहां के सरकार मौका भी दे दिया था. This was agreed to treat the British citizens very good way. English में और Dutch में ये agree बन गए. So they had to create facility, one, for keep them after the contract in Suriname, and also they had to do something to grant the welfare of them. Bhasha, Bhojan, Dharam, Sanskriti, Vagaira, they has been served, and for serving these things, there were Hindustani Kuli school. There was Hindustani schools in Suriname. But also many masjid, and more than a masjid, there were mandirs. The Hindustanis are very diverse in believing. Are Shivaji, Balaji, Krishna ji, Sri Ram ji. The choice is independent. एक घर में शिवा के मानता है, दूसरा वही घर में बजरंगबली को पूजा करता है, वही घर में दुर्गा माता, वही घर में श्री राम सीता की पूजा होता है. That is the freedom of Hindu. Okay, that's why today we have in Suriname more than 150,000 mandirs. Most of them.
Singh ji, एक बात आगे बढ़ने से पहले I want to ask you one thing. When I was researching in Fiji on Fiji Gidmitias, before then I didn't know that. The story of exile of Lord Ram had played a very important role in the survival process of the Gidmitias. Once they knew, first of all, for 5 years they had to be there, and the rationale they had was that if Ramji and Sita Mata and Lakshman could endure 14 years of exile and return to there, then for them 5 years is not a long time. They'll endure that and they will return to there. But as you say, 70% did not return for whatever reason. And so that would have been sort of a permanent exile. So in this period of 5-year exile or permanent exile, do you know if the exile of Lord Ram had played in the survival process at all?
I think that is the difference between Fijian and Surinamese. Exile, no. But the way of life of Suriname, sure, Sri Ram Nagar. Someone have seen this like exile, but it is not exile because of the government. No, they were being cheated. And someone thinks, I have to go because उस समय में भारत में अंग्रेज के बहुत से दबाव होता था. They have to fight against their own people on behalf of the Britons, and some of them. So ये रहने वाला देश नहीं है. But exile is not so special for the Hindustanis in Suriname. As I said, the way of life, Sri Ram Nagar जाना है, अगर जो नहीं है तो वहीं पर मैं Sri Ram Nagar बना लेंगे. You know, we had cities names, places names Calcutta and Bombay in Suriname. You know, they are making Sri Ram Nagar. This exile के बारे में ये डिस्कस बहुत हुआ है Suriname में. कहीं नहीं, ये exile ना है. Mostly they went to Suriname with thinking, I have to go there and I want to start there and I will stay there. It is a pulling factor, not a pushing factor, but a pulling factor to go to Suriname and stay there, because 230 of them never came back to India.
No,
basis, that doesn't mean a difference between the
Singhji, there's a bit of contradiction there. If 30% of Surinamese Hindustanis had returned to India, that means they did not go to Suriname to settle there. And I don't think anybody went there to settle there because the contract was for 5 years. The migration was never.
You are right.
The migration was never permanent. Although those who took them there would have wanted them to stay there permanently because of the cost factor of returning them and recruiting others to Suriname. So that's another issue. I mean, have not done much research on Suriname and other former Gilmit colonies on exile. But I'm quite confident to say I did my doctoral thesis on exile of Fiji Gilmites, and I can confidently say the majority of the Fiji Gilmites were prevented by the colonial powers from returning to India. So there's another issue. Let's get back to the mandirs, Ram Mandir, and Ram Lilas and festivals of Suriname.
Yes. We are going to talk about this issue about the pushing and the pulling powers to staying or not staying in Suriname. That is a very interesting point. Dekhiye, we have Ram Lila every year, not today, but as can remember me, I was a child 4 years, now I'm 77. I went to Ram Lila, नाटक के रूप में चल रहा था हर देहात में. Ram Lila was a great event to go there to see who is Ram, what was Ram doing, and what means Ram for us to stay here in a foreign Girmitia country. And maybe that can compare with the exile life of Sridhamji. But Ram Lila is still today a very important event in Suriname, also in the Dutch.
I want to, Singhji, I want to know actually how Ram Lila was performed in Suriname and how compared to how it was performed in Fiji. And I can describe that very well, how it was done in Fiji, because Ram Lila Kuti in my village was few yards across our farmstead. And as a child, I used to go and I used to read and sing Ramayana and explain to others at the age of 11 or 12 the meaning in the chopais and doors. And then at the age of 14, I participated in a Ram Lila, in which I played the role of Hanuman. Dual role, Hanuman and Sugriv. The way it was done, it was done over 7 evenings, and Sunday finished in the evening, and there would be a patch of land, and one side there will be mahal constructed of Ayodhya, and the other side will be Sri Lanka, Ravan's. So there's Ravan's Dal and it's Ram's Dal. And so the things would be happening, Ram Lila would be happening in Ram's Dal and in palace in Sri Lanka, and the youth and everything will also happen in the middle. What I want to know if that's how it's done.
Yes, something like that, but on one stage, अलग-अलग जगह में नहीं. पर्दा ही देता था, बदलता था. पर्दे से.
अच्छा, स्टेज में, ये ग्राउंड पे नहीं होता था.
ग्राउंड पे. अभी अब स्टेज पे हो रहा. But in my time, it was a luxury to have a stage. So everything was playing on ground. हम सब जमीन पे बैठकर नाटक देखते थे. So one thing in the before 65, ladies, girls, not allowed to play natak, But after that time, it's mixed. Beta, beti, खुशी रहते हैं. और name से, they are vegetarian, living just like Ram and Sita and Lakshman and Hanuman ji. So 7 or 10 days, I think, after the last day of Navratri. Ram Lila के जन्म अष्टमी होता है. तो उसी आसपास में बहुत धूमधाम से रामलीला खेला जाता है। एंड नाटक के फिल्म भी बन चुके हैं, कोई कोई फिल्म भी बना लिए हैं। And it is a part of the life of the descendants of the Kirmitias in Sanatnis, especially in Suriname, also in the Dutch. And it's giving them an identity. वो बताते हैं हम कौन है, उसमें सीखा जाता है, बताया जाता है, एजुकेशन। एक्सक्यूज मी। तो ऐसे ही वहां चलता था। अब मॉडर्न हो गया है, यूज करते हैं। और एक बात बता देता हूं मैं, लोग के तो रंग भी एक काम करता है ना, द स्किन कलर। नॉट एवरीवन वाज वाइट, यू नो, तो उसको एक उजर उजर कुछ लगा लेते थे चेहरे पे। तो चेहरा पे लगाने से पहचान नहीं पाएगा कि ये मेरा बहनोई है, ये मामा है, ये काका है, ये नाना है, यू नो।
यस।
खूब सुंदर से लिपस्टिक विपस्टिक लगा करके मैन वो ब्रेस भी लगा लेते थे और लांगा पहन के ऐसे ऐसे रंग लेते थे। मैंने नाम हम सब सिंक विद कहते हैं होलैंड। आई नहीं नो डू यू कॉल दैट थिंग व्हाट यू कैन वाइट योर चेहरा।
वहाँ I mean, वो करते थे, मेकअप भी लगाते थे। But in 7 days it was a carnival and everybody looked towards it. All the villages and district people, irrespective of religion and race, they would gather on the Ramlila Kuti grounds or school grounds where Ramlila is taking place in their hundreds and thousands. I remember we traveling after we had finished at our Ramlila Kuti, we'd go to another village to soak in the Ramlila as well as the carnival atmosphere that was created, and the toys and the food and things like that as well.
You know, in Suriname, we have on several places, districts, mostly in districts, they have their own Ramlila. It was not one that circus moved here from there. No, that stays on the same place from first day to the end.
Yeah, and all over. But unfortunately,
all over they have, yes, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, around the same time in Suriname and Fiji, we experienced coups, and few years, probably a couple of decades after the coups, the Ramlila had stopped. I'm told. I was not in Fiji then, but after we had performed and our Ramlila Kuti way back in 70s, Ramlila was never performed again at that Kuti. And then slowly after a few years, Ramlila started to be observed and celebrated again in Fiji, but to a much lesser extent. And we had also, there's a mandir here. A couple of years ago, we had a similar Ramlila here in Australia, and hopefully we're going to have more Ramlilas here. So what was the situation in Holland and in Suriname? Did the coup have any effect on the Ramlilas there? Or
I think temporarily, well, from 1980 to sometime, I was not there to know, but I think it was stopped. Maybe it was been happening within the mandirs, something like that. But as I know, this is a traditional in numbers of people. Maybe it was not possible to meet together in a group, but it is best possible that after 1980 to 1990, 10 years, it was slowed. It was a little bit stopped, but after that, it never died, the Ramlila.
Ramayana Mandalis in Fiji and in Fijian diaspora, there are hundreds and hundreds of Ramayana Mandalis. and that's one very great way to keep the story of Lord Ram and Ramayana alive. Is still going on, in
We
the area
have
I live in. Is it
we are
same
called.
in?
But let me tell you, excuse me, Mandali. What do you mean, Ramayana Mandali?
Mandali is a
Group?
small group of
Okay,
people.
okay. We are calling it Ramayana Samaj.
Samaj, okay.
हाँ, रामायण समाज has been always. वो घर घर में जा करके गाना गाते हैं, मरगनी में, त्योहारों में. वो तो रामायण के कभी स्टॉप नहीं हुआ. वो अपना रामायण गाते रहते, चौपाई पढ़ते रहते हैं. When somebody has festival, something like that, रामायण is चौपाई से जोश बढ़ता.
और भजन और कीर्तन भी साथ साथ होता है.
बस सब भजन कीर्तन, जैसा मैंने बताया ना, नॉट ओनली बियॉन्ड श्री राम एंड सीता, बट ऑल्सो श्री कृष्णा जी, दुर्गा चालीसा, नवरात्रन. बिकॉज अब इस वक्त देखिए चल रहा है पितरपक्ष है. ओम पितृदेवाये वल्वलाये ओम, ये मंत्र से जाप करके हम लोग घरे घर में पानी अर्पण करते हैं, और लास्ट दिन कुछ खाना पीना भी अर्पण करते हैं. दिस इज बाउंड with our Ramayana, with our tradition of Sri Ram ji. And yes, Ramayana is also not only for the recreative, but धर्म उसके जरिए से सचारा जाता है, बांटा जाता है. अब बच्चे बच्चे भी सुनते रहते हैं, उनको अच्छा भी लगते हैं.
We've talked briefly about Holland. It's been stated the largest Girmitia community outside the former colonies is in Holland. So what is the state of affairs as far as Ramayana, Lila, Ramayana Samaj is concerned in Holland? How has it changed a bit?
No, it is still going on. Just like in Suriname, वो चलता रहता है. वो हर वक्त, हर साल अभी देख is coming है. After the Peter Pucks, we will get, I think, next one festival is Navratri, and after Navratri we will have. वो चलेगा. एक त्योहार बन गया है.
ठीक है, तो ये दिवाली से पहले और रामलीला के समय, उस समय कुछ और भी हम बात कर लेंगे.
सब भी चलते हैं.
हाँ, so
I wanted to tell you was Hanuman in the time. You was Hanuman ji, and you was Sugriv ji.
Yeah, I was Hanuman.
Okay.
My elder brother was Angad, played Angad, and
I know.
He also played Bali.
You know, one chaupai in हनुमान चालीसा में कहते, जब भरत और मुलाकात हुआ तो उसमें गाया जाता है, तुम मम प्रिय ना भरत संभाई. व्हाट मीन्स दिस चौपाई? इसके मतलब क्या होता है कि तुम मम प्रिय भरत संभाई, हनुमान जी से कहते हैं.
Limited knowledge of the language. I don't know whether it is in Bhojpuri or Sanskrit.
No, भोजपुरी में अब यही होता है कि भैया तुम मेरे भरत भाई के बराबरी हो.
Yes, that's what that's what
you know. Yeah. And he was the main servant of Sri Ram ji. हनुमान जी से बड़ा servant कभी नहीं हुआ. He was the biggest one.
Oh yes, I mean.
तो अगर जब जानना चाहते हैं तो मैं आपको बता देता हूँ इसके बारे में. एक मिथोलॉजी बना है about Sri Ram ji. If you have time, once I will tell you the story about this.
Briefly, yeah.
अभी briefly हो जाए. देखिए, श्री राजा दशरथ जी was married, and I think he has already a girl. Not from these three Ranis, but he had. क्योंकि श्री राम जी के पास हर वक्त एक बड़ा बहन भी रहते थे. But after marrying these three Ranis, he couldn't get a son. एक बेटा तो होना चाहिए उत्तराधिकारी. Vasisht ji said him, you have to do a puja, and the puja has a special name. I have to look here. I wrote that. It is
the puja took place in banks of Manorama River.
ये उसका ठीक उसका नहीं. वशिष्ठ जी suggested performing पुत्र कमेष्टि यज्ञ.
Yes.
पुत्र उसने मतलब है कि पूजा करो, आशा रख करके पुत्र मिलेगा.
हाँ, वो जो नदी पे जहाँ पर पूजा किया गया है वहां मैं गया हूँ. वो नदी का नाम है मनोरमा नदी, और एक बृहद वहां पर हुआ था म्यूजिकल प्रोग्राम. श्री मनोज तिवारी जी जो अभी एक MP है, उनका परफॉर्मेंस हुआ था. तो उसी जो आप पूजा के बात कर रहे हैं, they are commemorating that event even today at the same bank, the Manorama River.
Okay, very interesting. But अब मैं जोड़ देता हूँ बात. भरत संभाई क्यों बोला जाता है? तो ये जो यज्ञ पूर्ति होने पर अग्नि देवता एक कलसा लेकर के ना वो प्रसादम लेके आया. वो प्रसादम कहा गया था कि देखिए राजा जी, ये अपने रानियों में बांट देना. दशरथ जी एक हाथ में लिया एक हिस्सा, दूसरा हाथ में लिया और दे दिया कौशल्या माता को, और दे दिया कैकेयी माता के, वो सुमित्रा को नहीं दिया. But these two mothers अपने अपने हिस्सा में से one quart सुमित्रा के दे दिया. इसी हेतु सुमित्रा के ट्विंस पैदा हुआ, राम लक्ष्मण, लक्ष्मण और शत्रुघ्न, है ना इसे. अब भरत समभाई की भरत वस्त एक हिस्सा दोनों मिला के तो भाई हो गया. मगर वो बांटते वक्त when he was dividing this prasadam, some aerosol fell down, and at that moment पवन जी was there. इसलिए कहा जाता है पवन पुत्र हनुमान. क्यों उनको पवन पुत्र कहा जाता है? जो उनके पिताजी कोई और थे, उनका नाम जानते हैं ना, उनके पिता के. तो केसरी नंदन पिता के नाम, अंजनी नंदन माता के नाम. तो पवन पुत्र का कहाँ से बना गया हो. दिस बूंद जो चुआ बांटते वक्त वो पवन जी ले करके और तुरंत फ्रॉम नॉर्थ इंडिया ही वेंट वेरी फार टू साउथ इंडिया, बिकॉज देयर वाज किष्किंधा. देयर वाज द लोकेशन where Mata, the mother of अंजनी माता ने पूजा कर रहे थे, क्योंकि उनके भी बच्चा नहीं हो पाते थे, और बच्चा होने के बाद उनका श्राप मिटता था, क्योंकि वो बंदर के घर में जन्म लिया था और उनको श्राप मिला था. वो जो मिला था इंद्र के राज में, वो तो वह शिवा से कैसे कहते उनको श्राप मिल गया था कि तुम जाओ बंदर बन के रहेगी. लॉन्ग स्टोरी है. बट पैदा होने के बाद हनुमान के वो फिर से सुंदरी बन गई. अब देखिए, ये जो प्रसाद के बूंद पवन जी ले जा करके केसरी के दे दिया, और केसरी से कहा इनके पूरा उनके नाक के सामने धर दिया जाए, बिकॉज शी वाज मेडिटेशन अंजनी जी, एंड ये एक सिंबॉलिक चीज है ना. तो वो बूंद एरोसोल जिसके कहा जाता है, वो बूंद अंदर गया और बना भरत. भरत इसलिए कहा जाता है भरत सम भाई. You can learn this in internet. You have this story.
I've read that
Hanuman mythology. It is mythology, you know. You have to believe or not.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's up to us to believe that. I did read about it recently only, Singh ji. So we had a very, very interesting conversation today. I would talk to you again on another issue. I'll let you know there'll be probably one or two more people, maybe one from Bharat, one from Mauritius, who will be talking on the TV series which I have made, Lord Rama in Exile. तो उस पर हम डिस्कशन करेंगे एंड बट अब जाते जाते आखिरी एक दो शब्द आप बोलना चाहते हैं, उसके बाद हम आज के वार्तालाप को विराम देंगे।
अच्छा देखिए वो हम करेंगे क्योंकि फ्रॉम द कमिंग स्टेटमेंट आई एम इन पोर्टुगल बिकॉज दैट इज माय रेसिडेंस एंड आई एम गोइंग देयर बट इन जनवरी वी कैन डू दिस थिंग अगेन। ने मेरे को क्या बोलना, मैं आपको धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि आप जो काम कर रहे हैं इन दिस हिस्टोरिकल गिरमिटियस एरिया। भगवान आपके सुख शांति दे, तंदुरुस्ती दे, बुद्धि दे और हिम्मत भी बढ़ाए कि ये काम अब करते जाइए, क्योंकि हम और आप तो नहीं रहेंगे। जो बचेगा, जो रहेगा वो तो इतिहास बन के रहेगा। एंड दैट इज योर, जिसके कहा जाता है फिल्मिंग। यू कैन राइट इट but you can make a video of that, and your video film will be a very great part of our history and the very far future.
सिंह जी, मेरा दोस्त, मेरा मेंटर प्रोफेसर नंदन भी जब भी मुझे कॉल करता है यही कहता है, कीप सेइंग सतीश, कीप ऑन डूइंग व्हाट यू डूइंग, वी हैव टू डॉक्यूमेंट आवर हिस्ट्री, आवर कल्चर, and that's what we have done today. We added another episode today, and have a wonderful time in Portugal, and kabhi hum baat karte rahenge, and then we'll meet again in January on another session of Raivision dialogue. तब तक के लिए आपको नमस्कार, राम राम, जय श्री राम,
राम राम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम।